Obviously, I'm a Yankees fan, so I'd love to see him.
It's almost like legacy of like the NFL versus.
But I definitely think that Baker could be a really good player for the Panthers moving forward.
Did I say Oreos?
There's a lot of questions I have about Mahomes. Looks like a kid playing Madden.
Turning point in the game is the 13-second drive.
They play very hard, even though they're terrible.
He's a good pick. For sure. He's going to be a good player. But I can't argue against the Jamar Chase pick.
They made moves saying we're going to win this year, at least get into the playoffs.
I'm going with my guy, Corey Seager. So glad.
What's good, y'all? My name's Austin Drummond, and I play rugby for the University of Notre Dame. And you're listening to The Outsider's Opinion with Austin and Kevin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our MLB Opinions of the Week. It is not October yet, and of course, we've talked about the races, and we've made our predictions on who gets the top AL spot, but that's not really the subject of today's video. The man that opposed these rules when we talked about changing MLB and what seems like forever ago, Austin.
Hello, yeah, it's a big thing that stealing is now, I think, completely changed how teams value it, because stealing used to be a lot harder. I mean, the last 70 steal season was a long time before Acuna, and it definitely has increased the number of steals. Acuna already had 16 steals, only 49 games before he got hurt this year. So he was already looking like he was going to get a lot of steals again this year. And Ohtani, I mean, he doesn't have to worry about pitching this year. His UCL is healing, but not healed completely. And so he can just worry about getting steals. Last year, he had 44 in 135 games. This year, in 134 games, he has 44 steals. He'll definitely go above that and probably reach, or no, that's homers. Last year, he had 20 steals. So he's had the same amount of homers over the last 2 years, but he's at 43 stolen bases to 44 homers. The most stolen bases he's ever had in his career was in 2021 with 26. He's an extremely fast player, and his impact on the game can be felt through everything except for pitching this year.
Yes, and the rules went into effect last season, and that's when the bases reached over 3,000 total stolen bases for the year. Since when? Do you want to take a guess, Austin?
Probably some year in the 80s.
Actually, 2012, they reached 3,000 in total. But if you look at in 2022, the leader in the NL was John Berti with 41, then Jorge Mateo in the AL with 35. Then 2023, Acuna had 73, which is led him to get the MVP. And then Esteury Ruiz for Oakland stole 67. So it is a jump. And that was kind of the purpose of the rules, is to incentivize base stealing, because not only are the bases bigger, there is also the number of times you can pitch out, or what's the exact terminology? Pick off. There's 3, and then of course you have the timer for pitch clock. For the pitch clock. So I don't think it's bad. I think it's really exciting. But I do think it's an important context when you talk about the MVP race, especially in the NL, because this is the second year in a row the leading candidate, I would say, has incredible amount of steals with an incredible amount of home runs. It's still incredible for what they're doing. I would say Ohtani doesn't strike me as a fast guy, but to me that is just probably a bias I have. But
it's hard to correlate pitching with speed.
Yeah, but he is a fast player. We saw that he's had some great base running skills with the Angels, but it is impressive. However, I do think if you're going all time, you have to talk about the rules.
Yeah, this isn't the same league. It's not the same rules. And that, I do think, definitely matters.
But I would say it's really eye-catching when you're talking about 43. Because Ohtani's pretty close to his stolen bases. I think he was at 43 home runs, 43 stolen bases. I don't know if that's
44 home runs, 43 stolen bases.
Okay. So that's really exciting. And I do think it's helped with the aspect in coaching. It used to be not a lot of stolen bases were used in big time moments. I think the big time moment that I can really think of before the rule change was maybe when when Randy Arozarena stole home in a playoff game,
On a World Series game as
in a
well. He
World
did that in
Series
the
game.
World Series, yeah.
Yeah. And I think there was that, but then like Kyle Schwarber would get on base or steal a base. But I think we've seen that as an aspect, and I'm very excited to see. Pretty sure the Dodgers will make the playoffs. How Otani does stealing the bases, but also hitting home runs.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he does, especially when he goes back to pitching as well, because that's extremely different to be pitching every day, or not pitching every day, pitching every 5 days, and also having to run the bases. I do think that can put a toll on your body, but we'll see. I mean, Otani's really the only person who could do that.
Yeah, and I will ask this question based on last year. That was a huge, I would say, item in the portfolio for Acuna's MVP case. Do you think this helps or actually hurts Otani's MVP case when talking about, well, he stole this so many bases, but there is the new rules?
I don't think it necessarily hurts his case, but I don't think it necessarily helps as well. While it is an impressive amount, again, it being the new rules and everything's changed like that, I definitely think that it impacts negatively the perception of steals overall. And sometimes that's okay, but uh, it definitely is kind of weird that we went from steals being not, or I mean, being more. They used to be more important because they wouldn't happen as often. Now that's not the case.
Yeah, it was definitely rare. Where I'm like, man, not a lot of guys can steal effectively well, but now a lot of guys steal, and there's a lot more quantity of it. So I like it. It's fun to see that more in the game. I'm curious how you feel about it.
About seeing
About like,
steals.
yeah, seeing steals, and do you like this? How the number of steals has gone up basically because of the rules. Do you like that, or do you wish it was more of a natural thing, not forced by the MLB?
I can see both sides. I can see both sides. I do understand why it's important, but also that I when steals were more valuable, right? Seeing a steal, uh, I do think it was something that you were like, wow, he got there. But now, I mean, my take before the season that I did not necessarily love it before 2023. I didn't necessarily like the fact that this is how the new rules are going to be, but I mean, the people that are taking advantage of them, I mean, touche. I mean, you gotta do what you can do, and obviously that's something that some players have excelled at, and some players have decided to add to their arsenal that they never had before. So I
Yeah.
do think
So,
it's impressive.
all right, let us know what you think. Do you disagree with us? What are your thoughts on stolen bases? What do you think about Otani's impressive pace? And then talk about anyone else. We really appreciate your comments, and thank you for listening to Outsiders Opinions.